Hello indie game fan, I have more new releases and updates that I have not covered in this video, beginning with Cultivation story Reincarnation, a Chinese-themed pixel art action roguelite that looks very good, having been described as like The Binding of Isaac, where it's a more regular room-based entry as compared to everything being a Vampire Survivors clone these days. Evidently, it is from a Chinese developer as well, since this trailer does have Chinese text in the UI, but the English translation is good enough and has gotten quite a bit of attention, where the best part is that this developer has been very active, releasing multiple patches since its release, even though it's not an early access title, making this one of interest. I'm still working on the best tower defense games video, so give me a bit of time, but in the meantime, do check out 2112TD, one that is inspired by old school RTS games with a sci-fi theme where you're placing towers along a path, looking pretty decent and is for fans of the genre.
Someone once said that being a stranger in a strange land is a curse. Whoever it was, they'd never been to Holligard.
This video is brought to you by Broken Ranks, a gorgeous isometric MMORPG which is celebrating its first anniversary of release and is one of the more visually impressive titles that I have come across. You will of course notice that this game's exploration is from an isometric perspective, almost like a classic CRPG like Baldur's Gate, which is a fantastic look, and more interestingly, switches to a turn-based combat system like in Heroes of Might and Magic, but with an almost active time battle element as well, so it's not a sit back and relax type of game. It takes place in a fantasy world where you play as a refugee attempting to find your way in this new land where all sorts of monsters and enemies await. All the expected MMO elements are there, including guilds, 7 character classes to choose from, optional PvP systems, and what seems to be quite an active and engaged community. And yes, while it is free to play, the premium currency can be traded in-game and is primarily used for cosmetic customization as a way to support the developers. This game is also constantly being updated, where since release last year, they've added the ability to purchase land for your guild, new bosses, a marketplace trading system, improvements and reworks to the PvP system, and even holiday events, so if you are curious, register via the link below and use my promo code on screen to get 7 days of premium account access.
Play now.
I hope my memory is not failing me, but honestly, I cannot point to another game that is doing what Whackerball is doing, being an action roguelite, which is of course based on the classic breakout style brick breaker game, where you have to keep the ball up in the air or risk losing a life. However, this game adds roguelite modifiers and upgrades, such as making the ball more deadly with added bleeds, while still having to avoid enemy bullets with your pedal, and no, despite its art style, this is not a sock pop collective game and gets on the board for being unique. The Chinese-themed city builder Ballads of Hongye did launch to a mixed reception, and while it is also not an early access title, the developers are continuing to patch and release new content for it, with Hongye Hotel being the latest. This adds a new region to build your city named the Moon Canyon, one that is best suited for tourism, so of course it comes with a new hotel, which is not limited to just a simple building, but is a system of its own. In a way, this adds a game within a game with more tycoon-style management systems as compared to the big picture city building element, where you need to cater to every customer and their different needs, as well as increase the star level of the hotel, so hopefully this game will get there someday. I want to give a special mention to the space combat action roguelite as well, since it released out of early access last month, where Power of 10 has quite a good look, not exactly the flashiest of titles visually, but there is a sense of style here. You play as a pilot of a starfighter, having to take on an entire armada of enemy ships, with various ships to choose from, plenty of upgrades and a weapon hybrid combination system, and even loot and trading, where if you love space combat titles, I do think that this will be of interest. Let's move on to something a little bit more chill, shall we? WooLoop is a puzzle and art game where you are looping threads of wool around various pegs on a board and eventually creating a work of art. I'm not exactly sure how much guidance is given to you, since from the trailer, it does seem like it is all very guided, but games like this are perfect to zone out and relax to, where it's free with paid DLC for more levels, so do at least give the base game a try if it looks pleasant. I present this next update with a tinge of melancholy, since Astroneer Awakening is the 25th update to this massively popular survival game, which is narrative focused, bringing the story to its epic conclusion, where I still remember this game's early access launch in 2016, which was the same year that I started YouTube, where how things have changed in the years since then. A new mission and story questline will be presented to you, but the developers are tight-lipped on specifics, so no spoilers here. But if you're a fan of the game, don't worry, gameplay-focused content updates are still being made, so feel free to dive into this update.
Art was my everything.
Similarly, another major update is Astro Ascent: The Crimson Highlands, the second content drop for this awesome pixel art action roguelite, where it adds the titular new region with new enemies, bosses, and even a new playable character. Kelly the Geomancer battles with gems, which she can manipulate into a variety of forms, including both melee and ranged weapons, feeling quite different as compared to the other playable characters.
Call my name. I am ready.
The highlights in this game to me are of course the pixel art and Zodiac boss designs, with Libra and Aquarius being the two new bosses, where this game just keeps getting better and better.
Justice will be delivered.
My gems are my weapons!
I also want to give this free updates a special mention since the base game did make my Game of the Year list in 2022, where Nobody Saves the World Impossible Dungeon adds a combat-focused endless dungeon and even a new dinosaur form, where you can watch this video to see other games of 2022 that I really loved.